Hey there, Gavin, and welcome. In over 29 years in sales, what I'm about to go through with you, I have seen over and over. While I was working in that company, while I'm coaching and consulting companies, I have seen what is a huge problem. And if you can fix this problem, it'll save you possibly thousands of dollars, make you hundreds of thousands of dollars, and change the profits and where you want your business to be. Now, I've been in real estate, I've been in financial services, insurance, and I've spent almost the last 16 years in remodeling and construction sales arena, mostly one call close, but have done both. And what most sales organizations do incorrectly is they like to blame the leads and not just the quality of the lead. That's a whole nother video. They like to blame the number of leads they're getting within the company. Now, I'm talking mostly to the owners, to the sales managers on this video. Of course, the sales reps are always going to say they're garbage leads, and they're always going to say there's not enough leads. I've been on both sides of that coin, right? But what this video is about is you don't really have as much of a lead problem as you think. You have a sales system problem. And if you can fix this first, then it makes sense to kind of scale your marketing to get more leads. But you need to fix this first because you're leaking oil. You're leaving money on the table. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the importance of that and then what to actually do about it to solve the issue. And whenever I work with business owners, this is one of the first things I go through is through their sales system. So let's dive in. I'm going to kind of go along on the screen with you here. And depending on where your company is right now, this could be a, $2 million issue. It could be a $5 million issue. It might be $300,000 issue, wherever you're at. That is a big deal. All right. I mean, any of those amounts of money are a lot. So let me just break it down for you and get into this. So I just said, we need more leads. That's the thing I hear from owners is they always say like, we need more leads. We need more leads. If we could just have more leads, then it'd be fine. Okay. And look, I get it. More leads feel like it's progress. It feels like it's proactive and it feels like you're doing something about the problem. And like I said before, you might need more leads, but after 29 years in sales at both the sales manager level, sales level, and general manager level, and I've owned my own companies too in real estate, that I know most sales owners don't necessarily have a lead problem. They have a sales system problem. They're blaming marketing for what their sales process is losing. And that's the first fix, right? So here's the thing. The math changed how I think about revenue. So let me show you what I mean. And if you're wondering, once you see this, you can't unsee it. Let's say you run a business, you're doing $5 million a year in revenue and your team closes at just 21%, which in the industry I'm at, that's pretty common, like 1 out of 5, maybe somewhere between 18 to 25%. That's average, right? So, and it's different in every industry, but the same, applies. So that's your baseline, not a terrible closing percentage, depending on your industry, not great either. It's just pretty average wherever you're at. But let's look at the numbers. If you were just to increase that revenue number by 3%, as quickly as you can. So baseline's 21%. But if that went to 24% closing rate, that's a 14% increase. Overall, it would go to 5.71 million in extra, 710,000 in extra revenue. If you got that 24% to 27%, now you're at 6.43 with an extra 1.43 million. And if you're able to get that average closing percentage up for your team to 30% from 21%, that's going to be a 2.14 million increase. Okay. So you've got to see those numbers and understand that if you can fix your sales process first, then it makes sense to start improving your marketing and getting more leads and possibly the quality. But 1.4 million from 5 million with the same leads, the same pipeline, the same business, just a 9% additional closing percentage is going to make a huge difference in your business, right? And here's what's so hard to witness. Most owners would spend around $200,000 marketing to try to generate that same kind of growth. So I've seen it all the time. Like they just throw money at their problems, thinking more leads is the answer. And they could have made all that extra money by just fixing their sales system. And that's the real problem. Really, I can completely transform companies fixing this first. And then the other stuff, we just start exponentially growing, right? Why nobody talks about this? Because fix your sales, system is not sexy. It's not a shiny thing. There's no Facebook guru selling you a course seller, right? I mean, that's what everybody wants is like this quick fix. And if you do fix your sales, that can be a quick fix. But more leads is easy to understand. It feels tangible. You throw money at ads. You see numbers go up in your CRM. You feel like you're making progress, right? But converting more of those leads you already have, that requires looking at the hard stuff. Your process, your scripts and presentation, your offer, your follow-up, your team's ability to actually close, the way they handle objections, the way you build trust in the first conversation, all of it, right? It's a big part of it. You're obsessing over the faucet when the bucket has major holes in it. So you're not getting anywhere, right? It requires admitting that maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't that marketing isn't sending you enough opportunities, which in the sales world, they love to blame marketing, and marketing loves to blame sales. Get those two teams working together. It's like magic. And then it's that you're leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table with the opportunities you already have. So this question is what most owners, maybe even sales managers, never ask. They don't. All sales owners I've met, they can tell you their lead volume. They know their ad spend. They know their cost per acquisition. They've even sometimes got dashboards and reports and weekly meetings about the top of the funnel. Ask them their net close rate. And a lot of times you get a pause and like a general guess, like, oh, somewhere around 20-ish% or something. Like every 1% is a gigantic difference, right? And that's the problem right there. So stop asking, how do we get more leads? And start asking, why aren't we closing the deals we already have? That's the sales system. That's the question that will make you more money than any marketing campaign you'll ever run. And the marketing campaign, again, it doesn't matter if the sales aren't happening. Okay, so let's try it with your numbers. Let's just say you do 1.5 million in sales. And let's assume you have a little higher closing rate at 23%. Look at every 3 points, the difference. So you would go to 1.7 million if you can get to 26%. That's 196,000 more. If you can get 6% more, that's 391,000 more. 9 points, that's 587,000 more. I mean, to think about that, like how much money you're spending on advertising if you could fix this first. Let's do one more thing. Let's just go let's go 3 million. A lot of companies in that 3 million range, right? You raise it by 3 percentage points, that's an extra 360,000. 6 percentage points, an extra 720,000. 9 points, an extra million. Like, I want you to clearly see that. That's why I've got those numbers on there so you can see this, okay? Like, and a million more per year, same lead, same pipeline, zero extra ad spend. So let's talk about where you actually start, and let's get practical. You've seen the math. You know the opportunity is real, but knowing your close rate should be higher and actually making it higher, they're two very different things. So let's look into what that would be. Number one, know your actual number, not your gut feeling, not your, I think it's a round, guess, your actual close rate. Pull it out. And if you're not tracking that, that is, a big mistake. How many opportunities came in last quarter? How many closed? Divide. That's your baseline. You got to know where you're at to actually measure it. You think that would go without saying, but I've been surprised out there. So number two, find where the deal dies. Most sales processes have one or two spots where the deals go to die. Maybe it's after the first call. Maybe, people seem interested and then they ghost you. Maybe it's the proposal stage if it's one call close. Maybe it's the sales system that does not walk them down the path to move them forward with your company. Finally, every company on how they do things is a little bit different with their sales cycle. But there's usually a part in there that something really bad is happening that people are missing. And that blind spot is causing you a lot of missed opportunities and you have no idea. That's kind of where I come in. I'm an expert at sales. I've been doing this forever. I think I counted the other day, I've been on like 6 1,000, homes. I think it's even more than that. And you do this for 29 years. And yes, I've been a sales manager for a long time. Yes, I've been like a general manager and I've owned my own companies, but I kind of like sales and not having to deal with managing people and herding cattle and stuff. So I know what works and what doesn't. And I can usually see where the bottleneck is pretty quickly. Number 3, fix the sales presentation in the system first. If you're closing at 21%, if you went with a sales rep on an appointment and solved their sales process and what they're actually doing out there, you probably wouldn't be impressed. And you'd probably be like, no wonder, now I get it. And most sales teams have a system like it's always been done and it's crap. Okay. You better have a great sales process to beat your competition. Fix this, and this is where your money's hiding. You've got AI coming up. You've got savvy, consumers out there, and there's lots of opportunities. You better know that and not think the old tactics that the games, the manipulations, all the crap that so many companies I see do that you think that's going to work. You better be a professional. You better know what you're doing. You better solve their problem. You better care and you better deliver or you are in trouble. So you've got to fix the whole presentation in the system first. And then number 4, you got to stop selling so hard and start solving, like I just said a second ago. The reason most sales processes leak is because they're built around the seller, not the buyer, right? So the pitch is about your product. The pitch is about your company. Flip it. Make every interaction about the buyer's problem. When you do that, you're not selling. You're helping them. The rest about your company and features come naturally after the problem is solved, and you can fill in those gaps with what you're going to do and why they should choose you. I mean, you would think that would go without saying, but a lot of companies just go, oh, here's features and benefits, and then they just pound the shit out of people at the end to try to close them. It's not a good business model. It's not a good sales system. Number 5, measure weekly, not quarterly. A close rate you check once a quarter is a history lesson. A close rate you check weekly is a diagnostic tool. See the trend in real time so you can course correct fast. I hope you have AI set up to run your numbers and to be able to see everything at a glance, depending on how big your team is. If it's a big team, you got a lot going on, you should be looking at this daily. If it's a little bit smaller, you should be looking at weekly. But there's so many cool processes out there to really take a snapshot of where you're at, and you should be there. So the real competitive advantage, okay, here's what nobody in the more leads crowd's going to tell you. Improving your close rate costs almost nothing compared to scaling your marketing. A better sales process, better training, better follow-up systems, better discovery calls. These are operational improvements, not budget line items. And unlike other marketing, which has diminishing returns, the more you spend, sales efficiency compounds. Every point you improve sticks. It applies to every lead that walks through the door from now until forever. It's not a tactic. That's a structural advantage, okay? Here's where it gets interesting. So yeah, you're going to make significantly more money just by fixing your close rate. The math doesn't lie. A 9-point improvement on 5 million is over 2 million. Run your numbers using my example, but that's just the first level. What if you also reduce your cancellation rate? What if the fewer clients walked out the back door while you were busy bringing new ones in the front? And what if you unlocked a lot more referrals? What if your company was like, gosh, I just get a lot of referrals and from the clients you're already serving, or repeat business? That's huge. And I built a whole real estate business, doubled it 4 years in a row, just on referrals, and an expert at it. I have more videos on that coming up, but all of these are real multipliers. You got to keep the ones you've sold. You've got to make the ones you do sell happy. And then you've got to make sure that they're recommending you, writing your reviews. Sounds very, of course, Gavin, but applying a system to actually do that and ensure it happens, whole nother game, and it is a game changer. So if you're not subscribed yet, I recommend you follow me. If you would like to talk more about how I help companies, I'm going to give you a link to a webpage of mine, and you can get in contact with me. There is no hard pitch. I'm not... It's like, hey, you want to increase your business by at least 30% net profit within 6 months, and then try to continue to do that. That's kind of the game I want to play with companies. And we try to blow that out of the water. Little things add up, and we do an audit and start including, implementing, and devising these systems that fit your company to build a culture that is fun to work at, that you actually enjoy running, and that retains top talent and attracts top talent too. So this is just one of the beginning videos. I have so much more to share. I'd like to hear from you. What's your biggest struggle? What would you like to see a video on to help you solve? And what, how can I be there to be of service? Like, comment, share, subscribe, all of it. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.